Hello guys, this is going to be the third installment in the Ranking the Build-A-Figure series. I have 8 new figures that we'll be adding this year, as well as I'll be trying to eliminate a lot more of the bias that I've had before. Some of the figures that should be on this list, like Apocalypse both from Toy Biz and Hasbro, will not be on here due to the fact that I do not own those figures. As you can see, Cole Obsidian is not completed either. He's the one that I have closest to complete with 3 parts of him done. So he's currently just chilling on the screen. But this is the kind of like a little warning. Viewer discretion is advised, I guess. If you do not like opinions, then you should not click off this video, because some of it is my opinion, but I mean, some of these figures are inarguable as the placing that they've received. So, yeah, I have over 30 figures, probably closer to 40. And, I'll be displaying them here for you and ranking all the Build-A-Figures of the third. After counting, I believe I have 33 of the Build-A-Figures. I know that I'm missing 27, maybe making that about 60 Build-A-Figures in total. Which, if you think about it, that's honestly kind of insane. That's a lot of figures. But you know, I'm out on that grind, trying to collect them all. It is it's not a simple thing. So right here in 33rd place is the Ultimate Green Goblin Build-A-Figure. I mean, it's ultimately just a kind of a repaint of the Hulk figure from the Avengers wave. I really dislike the whole wide joint situation happening. I feel like other figures, even figures on this list, will do it better, executing it better, while being just honestly a better character. I am not too fond of the character, and I'm going to make a little disclaimer. I did not watch either of the previous videos before making this one. In 32nd place is the living Beyblade himself, Red Hulk. I mean, I got this entire wave new and put them together and got a Beyblade. So, I mean, that kind of blows. But whatever, I guess, quality control, I guess, was not on the top of their priorities. I mean, it's relatively decent, but I did not like the whole spin cycle deal, really deranking this figure. I do enjoy Rocket Raccoon as a character, but I don't really think it should have been a Build-A-Figure. I do enjoy the figure. I think it is sufficient for what is needed for a Rocket Raccoon Build-A-Figure, but still, I don't know if it was necessary to be this, plus to be this being a Build-A-Figure, plus no lower body articulation, no swivels, knees, except for this little tail. So that's kind of a bummer. 30th place, we have the Koye Build-A-Figure. There's no real reason that this should have been a Build-A-Figure. There was not really any big figure in the wave. That's kind of the excuse they used with Mantis, saying that Death's Head was a big figure, so he counted as the Build-A-Figure, but they just retooled the Mantis, or made her into the Build-A-Figure, because they already have the Death's Head parts, not Build-A-Figure form. They didn't want to retool it, which I guess makes sense for that, but there was no big figures in this wave, and I feel like the second wave with M'Baku really just kind of outclassed this wave, with Okoye being a little smaller than the average figure. Kind of sucks that she was the Build-A-Figure, but I guess a very necessary character. Hobgoblin also being in the exact same boat. He's just a smaller Build-A-Figure character that I don't feel is as important as Okoye, but still is bigger and has more mass, takes up more shelf space than her. Had at least a lot better wave. His wave was a lot better than Okoye's wave, which, I mean, Okoye's wave wasn't terrible, but the Hobgoblin's wave, definitely better. Definitely better. 28th place, we have Toy Biz's Onslaught. I really just... This arm falls off whenever it so pleases, and the joint in the shoulder does not move at all. And then the one on this side is so very tight, so I've decided to keep his arms in this kind of downward position. It is a version of Onslaught that I am not too fond of, and I mean, the Hasbro later will do this figure better, thus justifying his 28th spot placement. Pulling up in 28th is the King Thor Build-A-Figure. I actually really like this figure. I don't know why. I really enjoyed it. There's actually some figures higher on this list that I didn't enjoy as much as this Build-A-Figure, but I recognize that they are very good figures, so they place higher. But this figure is not bad by any means. I very, very enjoy it. I know that is not correct by any means, but I really do appreciate it. I don't know why. I picked this one over Odin, but I do plan on completing Odin as well. As of right now, he is not complete. So, yeah, sorry. But yeah, he's not complete as of right now. But I will try and get that done. So, Odin, or King Thor, decent figure, 28th. 27th being the Thanos Build-A-Figure from 2015, I believe. Maybe Age of Ultron wave. Something around there. I really did enjoy this figure. I actually, when people were hitting on it, I really did not see a reason why. But after you get it, this hip, it only going out that far, really actually does surprisingly hinder the amount of poses that you are able to hit with him. But I mean, I still enjoyed the figure for enough for him to be better than a lot on this list, ranking him the 27th placement. But yeah. 26th is the Netflix Wave Man-Thing Build-A-Figure. I got this figure early, and I liked it. I did enjoy it, but I believe that there is definitely Build-A-Figures better than him. But there are definitely figures worse than him, the ones being on this list. This is kind of the range where we get into Build-A-Figures that, I mean, I like, but they're not, like, super outstanding, or they have similar gimmicks to other Build-A-Figures, and other Build-A-Figures, I mean, kind of did it better. But, I mean, yeah. Man-Thing. Woohoo! 25th is the Absorbing Man. I feel like the Absorbing Man is just kind of a worse version of Sandman. Maybe the Absorbing Man was just kind of a practice run. So when they did Sandman, he could be a lot better. But I mean, I still enjoy this figure. I feel like the arms are cool, even the paint does rub off eventually. The two head sculpts was nice, even though one of them looks like Sloth from the Goonies. And I don't know what it is about this fist and arm anatomy, but I really enjoy it. I don't know what it is. I'm just like, oh, that's cool. Good old arm. I just enjoy it, and I feel like it was pretty cool, I guess. I mean, that's all I have to say. 24th is controversial, because a lot of people really do enjoy the Gladiator Hulk Build-A-Figure. He just was not my favorite, and I don't really have a reason why. I just kind of didn't enjoy him. I completed him, and I was just kind of like, cool, I got him done. But I mean, he's just not my favorite, I guess. I don't know what it is about him. Like, I don't know. I just don't enjoy him as much as some of my other Build-A-Figures. 23rd is the MODOK Build-A-Figure. I enjoy how this figure looks. I feel like it is a very nice representation of the character of MODOK, but with it being the character of MODOK, there is very limited articulation. You can only get him in a few poses, and there's not really much. He's more of a statue than a figure, and that is nothing on Toy Biz's fault. It's just that's how the figure ends up. If you make a character of MODOK, that's how it's going to turn out. But otherwise, I think it's a very nice representation of MODOK. 22nd, we have Ronin. He's one of the early Hasbro Build-A-Figures, making his articulation very, very limited. If you watch my review of him, you'll see what I mean. He's not the best figure, but him being the only figure of Ronin ever produced up until this year, until the movie figure came out, I believe is kind of says something. I mean, he is the only comic version of Ronin. He's the only other version of Ronin other to the movie one. And it kind of took me by surprise how much I enjoyed this figure. Just the only issue I kind of have is his little cowl falls off semi-easily. But other than that, I really do enjoy this Build-A-Figure. 21st is the TV legend himself, Mojo. Another Toy Biz Build-A-Figure. Again, kind of in the same boat as MODOK. Not much articulation to be had, but just due to the character, except this one has little legs. I enjoy the figure, but I mean, I don't enjoy him as much as I thought I would when I first started building him. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I really enjoy this. But I mean, as I got closer and closer and actually got him completed, I feel like my enjoyment kind of just dwindled and dwindled. Rounding off the top 20, we have the Ironmonger Build-A-Figure from 2013, I believe. This figure is kind of small generally for a Build-A-Figure. And I don't know what it is. I just didn't really enjoy it, I guess. I got it for kind of a steal price, and it still just didn't sit right with me, I guess. I mean, it's a fine figure and all. I just don't really enjoy it that much. I don't know. It's just a alright Build-A-Figure. I believe I'm going to start sounding like a broken record with number 19, SPDR. Just another alright Build-A-Figure. Nothing too special or anything. Just kind of chilling with him. Does his thing as the character of SPDR, or should I refer to it as her because of Penny Parker? I don't know. Not gonna. No need to discuss that, please. But yeah, I believe it's just a good representation of the character. I do have issues with standing the character. It's a very difficult figure to stand, in my opinion. But I mean, decent figure, decent wave. 18th, we have Titus, which in my opinion, he and Space Knight Venom, conveniently, because they share parts, are the epitome of just very average Build-A-Figures. All the other figures after this have some kind of special trait or quality, or I just took a liking to them. I do like this figure, actually, and when I completed him, I was surprised with how much I liked him. Even though he was semi-plain, I enjoyed his gun arm, I enjoyed his little character nods after I studied his character a little bit more, and I just generally grew to like the character. Nothing more to say that. I just enjoyed the figure. 17th is Warlock. You will notice a trend with the next few figures, with Warlock being a very tall, skinny Build-A-Figure. I mean, I do appreciate how large he is in a way. I mean, he's tall, but that is compensated for with girth. He's very skinny. And with that, his joints get quite loose on me. I did not know much about the character of Warlock. And just with him getting all loosey-goosey on me, that was pretty damn annoying, I will just say that. But, yeah, I do appreciate the size of the Warlock. Another taller Build-A-Figure, we have Groot. Groot was the first really tall Build-A-Figure from Hasbro in the Guardians of the Galaxy wave. I do enjoy this figure. Groot is one of my favorite characters from Guardians of the Galaxy. I really enjoy him and Rocket playing off of each other. The paint on this figure was good for the time, but really could be better. Kind of knocking him down this list. A couple years ago, this figure would have been a lot higher, just because things that he had at the time had not been seen. But now, as more and more figures come out, he gets more and more just blended in with the crowd, I feel. 15th, we have Sandman, which I feel is just the better version of Absorbing Man. They both have very similar gimmicks, being interchangeable arms and or hands with another head. But I feel like Sandman just does that whole bit a lot better with his giant sand arms. I really do appreciate them. And I feel like he's a Build-A-Figure that is very worth your while. I mean, you only have to buy 7 figures, I believe, to complete him. With all the other like accessories that he comes with, I believe that is a very, very fair price. 14th place is Hasbro's Giant Man. I believe I'll actually get some hate for this figure because it is widely regarded in the Marvel Legend community that this figure is not very good. But I enjoy this figure, and I had a hard time putting it any lower than this. I do recognize some of its flaws, like its gappy shoulders and such, but I disagree with the argument about the knees and how they should bend in and stuff. I really do disagree with that. That's not me just being a wiener. I do disagree with that. And I believe that this figure has deserved the ranking of 14th. 13th is the Lizard Build-A-Figure. I was actually impressed with this figure's size when I first constructed him. I genuinely enjoy the sculpting and painting detail put to this figure. I feel like its two weaknesses and flaws being the tail, how it's constructed, and the head sculpt. I feel like it looks a little bit too dinosaur-y. Could look a little bit more lizardy. Not like Debut Lizard, because that thing just looks like Caliban, but like with scales. But like, oh man, a bendy wire tail would have been really nice to get. Maybe like a plastic edge or tip. But yeah, I thought the Lizard Build-A-Figure was pretty good. I do not understand why it gets a lot of hate that it does as well. I feel like the Vulture Build-A-Figure, or Build-A-Wings, per se, getting 12th is a very fair judgment, as the wingspan is very, very impressive. Very big, and I really do thoroughly enjoy the figure. I really enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming. Michael Keaton head sculpt would have been nice, but if we were to get only a Michael Keaton head sculpt and no helmet head, I would be a lot more upset than getting a helmeted head sculpt and not a Michael Keaton head. With that being said, I really do enjoy the Vulture Build-A-Figure. I think it's very impressive, it's large, and it's a good figure. Just missing out on the top 10, getting 11th, is the Nemesis, also known as Holocaust Build-A-Figure. I really enjoy the figure. It is an early Hasbro Build-A-Figure. Well, the second highest placing on the list. It was actually very difficult to complete this figure. Some of the pieces were very hard to get, but I mean, after completing it, I think it is pretty worth it. My little hood part on Nemesis is cracked, so I will look into getting a new one of those. But I mean, this is a really, really good figure. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy it. I don't see enough of it. I would say there's not that many reviews of it online that I could find, like quality reviews from like more recent times. So I put one out, but I mean, my content is not as good as it could be, so I would understand if that the review does not blow up. But I really do enjoy the Nemesis Build-A-Figure. Coming in 10th, rounding out the top 10, is the Abomination Build-A-Figure. I do realize that this was later released as a San Diego Comic-Con with a different repaint, but I actually enjoy this figure because I don't have the San Diego Comic-Con version of it. I only have this version. So I was not too bummed with it. I really do enjoy it. I think the paint is stupendous. And it's a good character that, I mean, I really do believe needed a newer figure since the Hulk movie came out. 9th will upset some people with it being Dormammu, due to the fact that this was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive before becoming a Build-A-Figure. But that did not deter me in the fact that I did not have a Dormammu Build-A-Figure or figure in that matter, and I needed one. So I bought all 8 figures, which is kind of ridiculous, really hurting this figure. But when I first got it, I did not enjoy it. I hated it, and this figure just grown on me over time, and it's very interesting to have a figure grow on you over time. You pick it up, you hate it, you put it on the shelf. Every now and again you go back and you look at it, and it just gets more and more frequent of you going up and looking at this figure and posing him around, and you don't really have an explanation why. You just say that it's grown on you, and that's what happened with me and Dormammu. I just grew to like the figure more and more. 8th is Hasbro's interpretation of the Onslaught character, and I believe they did the version of Onslaught that back in 2006 or 7 when the Toy Biz one came out, the one that we wanted then. I do thoroughly enjoy this version of Onslaught. I feel like it has very sufficient articulation. It looks very nice. I feel like it's nice and comic book rooted. And I don't know, I really do enjoy this Onslaught figure. 7th has to go to Juggernaut. This was my very first Build-A-Figure that I ever got 2 years ago now. I've been trying to get all these figures for 2 whole years, and more have come out as I've been here collecting. But nevertheless, I have conquered a lot of the heap of getting Build-A-Figures, but more and more do keep coming out, and I need to get on top of that, but I'm sorry. But yes, 7th does go to Juggernaut. He is one of my favorite characters from the X-Men universe, him and Blob being up there for my favorites. He has very good articulation, and I would arguably say that this is the very best Juggernaut figure that has ever been made. The Select one is nice, but it is too big to the point where the articulation just doesn't even matter anymore. They just went straight for sculpt, which, I mean, that's kind of their style. They go for sculpt. But I want a Juggernaut that I can get into a running pose, and I can get this Juggernaut into a very nice running pose. 6th place is the 2015 Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure. This is this is the best Build-A-Figure that Hasbro has ever made in their new era. I think that a figure or two may be better than it in their first little stint that they did with 2007 to 2000, I don't know, whenever they did 10, 9-ish, and they stopped them again. I believe that this is the best figure that they have done from 2012 onward. It is very, very big, very heavy. It has very nice articulation, and it looks very, very good. I really do enjoy the figure. It was my second Build-A-Figure that I ever completed, first being Juggernaut, as stated previously, and from there, I cannot give you a solid list. I think the Sentinel was the third one I completed. You will see him higher up on the list. But coming in 6th is the Hulkbuster. Okay, so for the rest of these figures, they are way too tall for my tripod setup that I have. So I have to free cam it, so if it's a little shaky, I'm sorry. You're going to be hearing one name a lot more in this video now. It is going to be Toy Biz. This is number 5, goes to the Toy Biz Galactus Build-A-Figure. I feel like the reason you're going to hear Toy Biz a lot more is because they made some of the best Build-A-Figures ever, and that's inarguable. Galactus stands over a foot tall, one of the largest Build-A-Figures ever made, and I enjoy it very, very, very much. 4th goes to another Build-A-Figure who is very large, but in the opposite dimension. Pitt gets 4th. He's the Legendary Comic Book Series first wave. He gets 4th, also made by Toy Biz, because he is very hefty. He is very wide and very tall. He is wider, taller, and heavier than the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure. To provide some context, I feel like Pitt needs to be more well-known. As of right now, he's a very uncommon Build-A-Figure, and I'm very proud to say that I own him. I feel number 3 is the Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure, and I feel like this is the actual version of Giant Man, considering he is one of the big Build-A-Figures. He's over a foot tall again. Very, very large and very intimidating. It took 9-10 figures-ish to complete. Very, very worth it, I want to say. But it is quite an investment to get one of these figures. 2nd place goes to the Fin Fang Foom Build-A-Figure by Hasbro. And as you see when I back up, he takes up more than my review station. So if I want to give you a good shot of him, you'll have to see everything around my little station setup area. But he is a very, very imposing Build-A-Figure. He's very large, and I say that he's probably the best figure that Hasbro has ever made, new and old era. Again, another massive Build-A-Figure. I said you'd be seeing him later in the list, but I did not say that he would be number 1 with the Toy Biz Sentinel Build-A-Figure. This is one of my favorite Build-A-Figures of all time. He is absolutely massive and just, in my opinion, straight up amazing. It's my 3rd Build-A-Figure ever completed, I believe, and I love it very much. It is the Toy Biz Sentinel Build-A-Figure. That is my list. He gets first. He takes it all. Thanks for watching the video, guys. This took a while to upload and do all that, edit, get it all sorted out, as you can assume with the amount of figures that are here. I will still try to grow my collection each and every day, with each new video being relating to a Build-A-Figure or maybe other kind of action figure content, because the channel is called the Action Figure Hub. But as of right now, I'm just trying to focus on Build-A-Figures of Marvel, that is. Maybe I'll move into some DC Build-A-Figures down the line. But as of right now, we're focusing on the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figures, and I will continue to bring Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure content to you. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is Action Figure Hub Nate, out.